Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. In today's episode, we're talking about bonding strips, why they're used and what they're used for. So be sure to stick around. So I have a few examples of bonding strips laying out here, and there are a few different types. So the most common one that you're probably going to have to replace is the bonding strip that butts two different panels together. There's the bonding strip that attaches to the birdcage or another piece of metal on the car, and you glue a piece of fiberglass to that. And then there's also the bonding strips that tie panels together, but also creates a lip. That way you don't have just an edge of fiberglass coming up. It'll reinforce panels. You're probably wondering, why did they use these? So Corvettes are made out of press-molded fiberglass, and this is a exploded view of a front end. And here's another view of a front end. You can see there's multiple pieces. There's a lower valance, a parking light panel, the side fender, the fender cap or the hood surround that goes the whole way around. So there's multiple pieces making up these parts. So the reason why they had to make them in so many pieces is because they're press molded. So these were originally made with a male and a female part of the mold, where they would put in the female part, they would load it with fiberglass, resin, and they'd push the male part down on top, and they would have a giant press on top that would apply a lot of pressure to help them cure, to make them stronger and really dense, which is why press molded fiberglass is stronger. But because of that, you have to make them able to release. You can't make the back end in one piece with a press molded panel and you're not going to be able to get the part out. You have to get the part out. So like you can see, this part is a very simple shape. It has an end cap on it and a bonding strip, but you can see that this would be able to come out of a mold easily. So for the back end, for example, because you can see all the seams, you can see the seam that runs up here for the quarter panel, the rear deck, the taillight panel, and you can see the seam goes the whole way down here. So whenever they built these cars originally, they would start out with these bonding strips. So in a previous video, whenever I was building this car, I showed how these bonding strips get attached. They get attached under the front end and they rivet to the birdcage. You can see the little divots here for where the rivets go. So whenever they built these cars, you're really not able to attach fiberglass to steel with an adhesive. With modern adhesives, they're a little bit better with that, but it was a lot easier to mechanically bond or mechanically attach a piece of fiberglass to steel with rivets, and then use a chemical bond with the adhesive to do the rest. So that's the way they did that. They did it, you know, for the roof the whole way down, and anywhere where steel contacted fiberglass, that's where these guys were used. I talked about this bonding strip, so I have a parking light panel which happens to be the exact same side. So if this bonding strip wouldn't be on here, you would just have a sharp edge. But with this, it gives you more of a finished lip, and it makes this panel a lot stronger. It'll make it less likely to deflect this way. So these bonding strips are very important for the aesthetic and just for the overall strength of the panel. And here's another little bonding strip bonding the valance, lower valance to the parking light panel. So over here I have the fender cap that actually came from the 64 that donated the rear clip to the Misfit. And if you've ever wondered why I have Fuelie emblems on the side of the Misfit, it's because this 64 was a Fuelie, and that's the evidence right there, the on. That's the only evidence, and then there's 1, 2 other holes for where the Fuelie emblem was attached. So this car was a Fuelie. That's my evidence. And on the back side here, there's quite a few critters. There's one bonding strip that I'm not totally sure what the purpose is. This guy right here. If somebody knows the answer to that that's smarter than me, let me know in the comments. But you can see the big bonding strip that goes the whole way around, that attaches the fender cap to the side fender, and then also the parking light panel in the front. So that bonding strip really adds a lot of strength because it has these ribs on either side that don't allow the panel to flex this way. So if you would hand lay fiberglass on the back of here to try to bridge the gap between two panels, you would still get that flex. But these little ribs act kind of like an I-beam and give you a lot of strength, which is what you need because the bonding adhesive is actually pretty brittle. It's the actual fiberglass that gives you the strength. The press molded fiberglass is really strong. So if you look at this joint, you can see this is the edge of the fender cap. It'd be a 1/2 inch wide, so it's probably like an 1/8 inch thick of bonding adhesive that's, like I said, is pretty brittle. It does the job of holding panels together, but it can't take the stress of everyday use, which is why the bonding strip is in here. So the bonding strip bridges the gap, gives you some strength to tie in. So think of the bonding strip is like if you're doing a weld repair on a frame where you're butting two pieces up together and you'd put a butterfly plate in between the two to help bridge it, to give it something else to bite into, because you know your weld or your adhesive is only so big, so you want a bigger footprint to spread out that force. It'll prevent cracks, keep the panels nice and tight together, so whenever they built the car or whenever you're repairing it, you can put clamps up against here and you can prevent the panels from having waves between the two pieces. So I hope that answered a few questions that you guys had about bonding strips and give you a little bit of history about the Misfit and its a little bit of a checkered past. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I have some more videos to make for you guys, so make sure you check all of those out. And I have a lot of work to do, so I'll catch you guys later.